Good morning and welcome to KidNuz. I'm Tori. Today is Tuesday, September 6, 2022. And we begin with basketball great Steph Curry adding author to his very crowded resume. The four-time NBA champion releases a kid's book today called I Have a Superpower. And if anyone knows about superpowers, he does. In addition to his rings, the Golden State point guard is an 8-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, and has made more three-pointers than anyone else in the history of the NBA. Off the court, though, he had some unfinished business. Last week, 13 years after leaving Davidson College in North Carolina early to turn pro, he officially graduated. He took his last few classes during COVID, but couldn't walk with the rest of the school in May because of the playoffs. Of his many accomplishments, this one apparently hit different. Warriors teammate Draymond Green texted him after the ceremony and said, "I've never seen you smile like that." The weather is fickle, and forecasts don't always come true. This time, though, they were spot on. The western U.S. is still sizzling under the heat wave predicted last week, with the mercury in California soaring above 110 degrees in places just outside of San Francisco and Los Angeles. According to USA Today, the nation's hotspot, Death Valley, could hit 125 degrees today. These temps aren't one-hit wonders. The sweaty weather is expected to last until Thursday, and rolling blackouts are a real possibility. State energy officials say demand today could tie or break its all-time high as heat-weary residents run air conditioners around the clock, pushing the electrical grid to its limit. Another delay for Artemis, and this is a big one. The second attempt at launch on Saturday went sideways when a fuel line fitting sprung a large hydrogen leak. If engineers can't fix the problem on Pad 39B, they'll have to slowly roll the rocket back into its hangar, and that's a trip that takes half a day each way. Either option means a multi-week delay. At this point, the soonest NASA can try again is September 19th, but there's also talk that it won't happen until mid to late October. Who doesn't like a new pair of kicks? Lucas the Penguin sure is digging his. A custom-made pair of neoprene and rubber boots to help him with a bad case of what's called bumblefoot. The bacterial infection causes foot sores and swelling. While pretty common, it's also pretty isolating. Lucas couldn't hang with his penguin friends and do the things they did. But now those days are over. The caretakers at the San Diego Zoo reached out to an organization called Therapaw and had it create orthotics, which are special shoes for animals with special needs. Lucas's are black to blend in with his black feet and are held on with Velcro. Now, for the first time in 3 years, little Lucas can waddle all he wants, keep up with his fellow penguins, and, zoo officials say, he even has a girlfriend. In other KidNuz notes, it's time to wrap your head around the name of a new world leader. Today, Queen Elizabeth will formally appoint Liz Truss as Great Britain's new Prime Minister. She replaces Boris Johnson, who resigned in July. Ms. Truss promises to get inflation under control and bring down the cost of energy, which has skyrocketed in that country, largely because of the war in Ukraine. And another big-time athlete is putting his mental health first. Detroit Tigers all-star outfielder Austin Meadows has decided to sit out September to deal with his struggles. In a statement, Austin said, "I can't do this alone, and I hope in sharing my experience, I can touch at least one person who might be going through their own struggles and encourage them to reach out to someone for help." That's it for KidNuz. Before we get to our quiz, we want to say a special thank you to our rock star of an intern, Maggie Mays, who is now part of Stanford University's Continuing Studies Writing Program. Next step, we hope, the New York Times bestseller list. Way to go, Maggie. Now, today's KidNuz quiz. What basketball great has a new kids' book out today? Warriors point guard Steph Curry. Which state might tie or break an all-time high in energy use today due to the heat wave? California. When is the soonest NASA will make a third attempt at launching its Artemis 1 mission? September 19th, but more likely in October. Lucas the Penguin has a new specially designed pair of what? Boots. In today's KidNuz Kicker, if hot dog flavor is not what comes to mind when you're reaching for ice cream, get in line. Still, Oscar Mayer apparently thinks it'll have some takers. The company has just debuted a limited run of hot dog popsicles. But they aren't just frozen hot dogs on a stick. They're made with gelato and hot dog flavoring with a drizzle of fake mustard. The products stem from the company's Stupid or Genius Instagram quiz, which tries to come up with odd but palatable hot dog concoctions. So, how do these frozen wieners taste? According to CNN's Jeannie Mose, just like you'd imagine, with a taste that lingers long after you've finished. One passerby who gave it a try told the reporter if these were in his freezer, they'd probably be in there for a really, really long time. Before we head out, we want to say a big hello to our KidNuz teachers, starting with Miss Lexi and her kiddos in room 113 at Elizabeth Lee Black School in Erie, Pennsylvania. Mrs. Rigo and her students at St. Teresa of Calcutta School in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Mrs. Jennery and Mrs. DeYoungie and their 4th grade owls at Oakley Park Elementary in Walled Lake, Michigan. And Mrs. Brittingham and her penguins at Pemberton Elementary in Henrico, Virginia. Thanks for listening. Please take a moment to rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you back here for more KidNuz tomorrow morning.